Hey guys, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to be chatting about indoor karting versus outdoor karting. Is there any similarities, or can a hire kart champion turn out to be a go-kart racing champion? Let's get stuck into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to touch on is the similarities between the indoor and the outdoor karting. Now, racing lines is going to be the same principle, whatever form of motorsport you're in, apart from drag racing, because that's in a straight line. But indoor karting, you still need to take the proper racing lines to achieve the fastest lap time. Now, you can't just use the inside diameter on the whole track because your corner's going to be too tight and you're not going to be able to carry the corner speed around the corners. So it's very, very similar to outdoor karting. If you're hitting the proper racing lines, you start in the corner on the outside, you get into the apex on the inside at the middle of the corner, then you allow the kart to flow out of the corners, that's going to be fast. The same principle applies to the outdoor karting. Now, when it comes to our apex points, so whether you're turning in too early or you hit an apex, in a later spot, it still resonates between the two. So again, if you turn in too early, you're going to hear the karts and squeal out. Now, slightly less speed in indoor karting compared to outdoor karting, but it's the same principle. If you do turn in too early, the chances are you're going to have a bit of an oversteer or a sliding moment between the two. Now, one of the other things is, when it comes to our braking, is the same thing. If you've got a tight corner at a high kart track, you might still have to use the brakes. Same goes to outdoor karting. If you go into a hairpin corner, again, you're traveling at a greater speed, so you might hit the brakes a little bit more aggressively or for longer periods in outdoor karting. Whereas indoor karting, tighter corners, heavier go-karts, might not need to use the brakes as efficiently or as much to achieve you cornering at the right speed with in control. When it comes to our racecraft as well, you've got overtaking. It's still going to be the same principles. Look towards the inside to overtake where possible. It's the safest place to pass. But where it gets a bit tricky is high karting tracks are normally a lot tighter, and also the karts are a lot wider with bumpers on. So I would probably tend to take a few more risks in high karting, knowing that I've got bumpers around me. The chance of me actually flipping, very, very minimal. Even just getting stuck into the tyre barriers as well. It's not really a life or death situation. So you're going to take probably more risks in high karting when it comes to overtaking. Because, like I said, you've got the safety parameters around you and you're going at a slower speed as well. So tighter corners, not as long distance around the whole racetrack, so your top speed's nowhere near as high. So when you go across to outdoor karting, you can't take some of those same principles across because it's a lot harder to pass than on the outside. Also, you're going at a lot higher speeds as well. So you're just trying to take those safety measures into account as well. So there is a few similarities between the two, but our next topic is going to be is, will one translate to the next, and can we be a high kart champion and also an outdoor karting champion? So now we're looking at, if I'm a high kart champion, does that mean I'm going to be an outdoor karting champion? Having coached people for the last 10 or 12 years, I've seen many drivers come from high karting and they've gone to outdoor karting. The biggest challenge that I see is that there's a certain way that you can drive a high kart fast, and that can be that you use both the pedals at the same time just to keep your corner speeds up. They're a lower horsepower kart, so by doing that sort of technique, it gives the high kart some control and some corner speed. They're trying to take that across to outdoor karting and using both the pedals at the same time. It just doesn't work. If you're traveling, in speeds of 100 to 115 kilometers an hour, so you've got the accelerator all the way down and you've got the brakes all the way down, it just takes a long time to slow down. Also, the brake pads that you use on an outdoor kart compared to what you use in an indoor kart, things are going to wear out a lot faster when it comes to outdoor karting. Same as the engine, we don't like having the same pedals on at the same time, both pedals on at the same time. So that's probably the first thing that I see when it comes to indoor karting driver traits and habits. It's a bad technique to bring across to outdoor karting. Now, the other thing that I see a lot is the racing lines that they use in indoor karting might not then translate to outdoor karting, because it's, in a way, we want to use the shortest distance possible per lap to go fast. But you want to still be able to travel at a great enough speed that actually warrants what you're doing. Now, when it comes to high karting, you can just shave off a little bit here and there. You can probably take a corner a little bit tighter than what you think, because it's only a very short distance to the next corner, and then before you know it, it's a very short distance to the next corner, and you're not really building up your momentum too greatly. When it comes to outdoor karting, you might have a hairpin corner that then leads onto a 200-meter straight. So you can't use the middle of the racetrack to approach that hairpin corner, because what you gain going into a corner, you lose tenfold coming out of a corner. And that's where I see a lot of high kart racers, they then struggle because they're trying to use these racing lines that work on a 20-second lap time at their local facility. Now they're going to a track that's 45, 55-second laps, and the speeds are a lot higher. So a small mistake can equate to a lot bigger deficit. So that's a couple of things there that don't quite work when you're going from rental to outdoor karting. Now, the next thing where high karters get stuck when it comes to outdoor karting is overtaking. Now, you don't have a bumper on your outdoor karts. So the old tap into corners or bang into the side of someone, it can result in the outdoor karts, sprint karts, flying over the top and flipping over. So you don't have that extra safety protection. Also, the speeds that you're traveling at, maybe a high kart goes, say, 60 Ks, and then you go into an outdoor kart and you're going 110 Ks. So the actual force of the impact is a lot greater with less protection. So it needs to be advised that when you're going from high karting to outdoor karting, just be a little bit more cautious around the karts that you're racing against, because you can't just go and nail everyone out there. You might get away with one or two, but the chances are you're going to have a lot bigger damage bill at the end of it, and you could hurt yourself as well. So overtaking is a very, very key factor when it comes from high karting. It doesn't translate necessarily to outdoor karting. As we said before, you can pass anywhere on the track in high karts. You still can in outdoor karting, but the chances are if you get stuck on the outside in outdoor karting, you could end up in the gravel at a higher speed. And in rental karting, you're going to end up in the tyres at a slower speed with that protection around you. So just be mindful of that. Now, the next part when it comes to does my high kart skills translate to my outdoor sprint karting skills is it can be the same with both indoor and outdoor karting, but the variance in karts in indoor can be very, very significant. Now, you just think, what sets of tyres have these karts got on it? How many crashes has the kart had? How much maintenance has the kart had on it when it comes to bent parts or, like I said, worn out tyres? Is the engine flogged out? Now, when you get to sprint karting, yes, you can have second-hand karts compared to new karts. You can have different engine performance. Again, might be a couple of tenths. But if you are going out to race, generally you're going to be on a very similar tyre compound, whether that's slight second-hand, but it's not going to be like 1,000 laps more than the competitor that you're around. Is my tyre rod bent or my stub axle bent? Most likely not, because you may have fixed it before you've gone out for your sprint kart race. So little things like that, where if you are a good high kart driver, definitely it could be because you're a good driver, but it could be that you are just in a slightly newer, faster, better kart, and that then means that when you get to the outdoor karting, where things are probably going to be a lot more even with the parity-wise when it comes to the karts and the performances, that your ability might not quite shine through as much. So that's something to take into account. Now, the other thing is, high karting is not weight related. So if I'm up against 78, 80 kilos and I'm coming up against a 50 kilo kid, the chances are he's going to have far more performance than me. Now, we're talking like a 200 kilo kart, and we've got a 50 kilo driver, and we've got an 80 kilo driver. That 30 k's less when it comes to acceleration out of corners and reaching that top speed. They're going to have a lot better chance of having more performance. Now, I might be able to corner faster with the additional grip, and that heaviness brings the grip level to the tyre in the kart. But over the course of a distance, they're going to have a lot better chance. So now throw that into outdoor karting, where we have set weight limits per class. Now, if you're a little bit too heavy, you go up to the next bracket, next class. But again, you're going to be fighting with people on very, very level playing terms when it comes to the weight. So the parity, I'm not racing against someone who's 30 kilos lighter than me, because the chances are in outdoor karting, we sort of say that 10 kilos is about 1 second per lap time. 10 kilos is about half a second. So we're talking 30 kilo difference, that's 1.5 seconds per lap. Now, a race could be 10 laps. That's 15 seconds straight away that I'm at a disadvantage. So throw into high karts, those lighter drivers definitely have an advantage on their side. But when it comes to good racing drivers, whether that's racing cars, high karting, sprint karting, online gaming, if you do the basics well, you'll be competitive. So high karting, motor racing, virtual gaming, kart racing, whatever it may be, you can be competitive. If you hit your racing lines right, if you use the full width of the track where it's necessary, if you overtake in the right spots on the track to gain an advantage, if you brake really well on the corners that you require braking, if you do those sort of 4 things right in high karting, you'll be a quick sprint kart racer as well. If you get the opportunity, you'll likely be a quick or competitive motor racing driver as well. So yes, you can be a high kart champion and also a sprint kart champion, but just knowing that there is a different way to be fast when it comes to rental karting as there is to outdoor karting. So use your talent and your ability to suit what conditions you are in. If you're in a low performance kart, build up your speed, slow into the corners, get the momentum going. Go to outdoor karting, traveling at higher speeds, you need to be fast in the braking zones. Like I said, overtaking in the right spots on the tracks that you can get underneath that cart and then try and gain an advantage coming out of the corners. That's always going to be very, very good. Hitting your apex points in the right point of a corner, it's going to change depending on the circumference and the radius of the corner. But hitting it in the right parts is going to mean that your kart's in control, traveling at a great mid-corner speed and allowing the karts to exit quite fast. So it's the same principle in high karting, sprint karting, virtual online gaming, and also motor racing. Do those things well, you can be a high kart champion, you can also be a sprint kart champion. If you've enjoyed today's episode on our indoor karting versus outdoor karting chat, leave us a comment down below. Do you race high karts? Do you race sprint karts? Do you race both? Do you race none? And you're just sort of tuning into this, our YouTube channel, just to learn about some kart racing. Remember, click subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I look forward to hearing from you guys soon. Cheers.